Good morning everyone. Thank you for the time that given to us. Now we will presenting the material today about ethics of interpreting. So before that, I will introduce my member group. The first is Cecilia Kristani Talmanua as the first presenter, Listener Yang Zebua as second presenter, and the last is Ika Erwita Zebua. Alright, I want to explain about the definition of ethics of interpreting. Ethics is a pattern of rules, procedure, signs, ethical guidelines in carrying out an activity or work. The code of ethics is a pattern of rules or procedure or guide to behavior. In relation to profession, the code of ethics is procedure or rule that becomes the standard for the activity of member of a profession. The code of ethics describes the professional values of a profession which translate into standard of behavior of its member. Ethics can be defined in very general terms as the respect of certain values to be achieved by adhering to rules and principles that have developed within a society or were laid down by a group for its members. It is a concept which refers to human behavior and human action. Ethical consideration may precede and cause human action. They may also be applied as a yardstick against which behavior is measured. Therefore, ethics may refer either to the attitude by which an individual's action is guided or to the effect that such action has on others. The second is the code of ethics of interpreter. The role of interpreter is to convey as faithful as possible the message sent between individuals who do not share a common language. This ability must be thoroughly mastered by a translator with rules and word procedure that must also be known and implemented. Good performance will certainly provide satisfactory results for interpreters and the public who use interpreter service. Interpreter performance is governed by 8 ethical principles. Number 1 is courage and fidelity. I want to explain. Number 1 is equity and fidelity. Equity and fidelity is the ethics for interpreter when interpreting something. Interpreters strive to render all message in their entirety accurately as faithful as possible and to the best of their ability without addition, distortion, omission, or embellishment of the meaning. The important thing, the must knowing by interpreter in this ethics.
Good morning everyone. Thank you for the time that given to me. My name is Listener Yang Zebua. So now I would like to continue to explain our material today, especially in ethics of interpreter. So our material is about impartiality. Impartiality, it is the ethic that must do by the interpreter when interpreting something. With the meaning, the interpreter must full communication and not impeded by any bias or preference of the interpreter. In here, interpreters tend to maintain the impartiality by showing no preference or bias to any party involved in the interpreted encounter. So the next is respect for person. Respect for person, it is the most important thing that ethic by interpreter, because the respect for person it is make the translator or the interpreter uphold the value of politeness to anyone regardless of one's status, so that the interpreter must promote direct communication among all participants in the interpreted encounter. So the next is maintaining role boundaries. Maintenance of rule boundaries, it is protection of professional integrity and reduction of exposure to liability. And here, the interpreter does not advocate of behalf of any party. And in maintaining role boundaries, the interpreter's rules is to enable communication between parties who speak on their own behalf and make their own decisions. So the next is accountability. Accountability, it is the interpreter are responsible for the quality of interpretation provided and accountable to all participants and the organization engaging the interpreter service. Responsibility for the quality of interpreter work. And the next is professionalism. Professionalism, it is how the interpreter must able to mention the professional behavior and comfort. The interpreters act in professional and ethical manner at all the time. And the last is continue competence. Continue competence, it is they commit themselves to lifelong learning in recognition that language, individuals and service, and it is like the achievement of the interpreter when interpreting something. It is like expand the skills of knowledge through the self-teaching formal and informal continuing education. That's all my explanation, and continue by the last presenter. Thank you.
Everyone, thank you for the time given to me. Now I will continue to explain the part B about the function of ethic for interpreter. According to Biggs and Bosser, 1986, page 10, put forward three functions of a code of ethics, namely the first is protect the profession from government interference, second, prevent internal conflict in a profession, and last is protect practitioners from the wrong practice of a profession. In this development, translators also play a role in the social, political, educational, economic, scientific, and technological fields. Therefore, translators have a strategic place in people's life. As a field of increasing interest, Psychopaths demand a separate professional code of ethics to protect complainants. Below is an example of the code of ethics for the translator profession made by the Indonesian Translator Association. For the first is, ethics upholds and applies Pancasila principles. For example, even though a professional service user is from America, translators don't want to exaggerate America and maybe even insult Indonesia. The ethic characteristic certainly does not uphold the Indonesian state. The second is ethics to have proper ethical behavior and sound business practice. For example, interpreters should be polite to other parties, not arbitrary towards other parties, because according to him the translator is the smart. The third is ethic not to manipulate the message contained in the source language. For example, translator may not manipulate the translation result and must comply with them. Here, it is important that the interpreter thoroughly respect the professional by providing good and correct translation result that can be well understood by both parties. That's all my explanation.
So that's all about the material today. If you have a suggestion, addition, criticism, and question, please send on Telegram. That's all.